Okay, welcome in. I'm going to continue my 32 and 32 as I'll be looking today at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you can see on the screen they finished second in the AFC North with a record of 10 and 7. I believe they finished as the number 6 seed in the AFC. So we'll take a look at their season schedule, then we'll look at their team stats, and then their individual ones as well. So as always, I'm just going to be skipping the preseason because even if it counted for anything, that means they would have been winless in their 3 games. So starting out the 2024-25 campaign, they got off to a pretty hot start, winning their first 3 games against the Falcons, Broncos, and Chargers respectively, before dropping 2 straight games to the Colts and the Dallas Cowboys. They would win 3 games after that against the Raiders, Jets, and Giants heading into their bye week. So they would be at 6 and 2 by the end of week number 9. Coming out of their bye week, they would win 2 straight games against the Washington Commanders and the Baltimore Ravens respectively, improving their record to 8 and 2 before dropping an unexpected loss to the Browns, making them 8 and 3 at that point. They would win 2 straight games over the Bengals. They would get their revenge on the Browns as well, before losing their last 4 games of the season. So they were sitting at 10 and 3, 10 and 4, 10 and 5, 10 and 6, 10 and 7. So they would end up losing 4 straight games heading into the postseason, and that's not what you really want to be doing, especially when it comes to momentum-wise in the postseason appearance. So because they dropped to the number 6 seed, they would end up facing their division rivals in the Baltimore Ravens, and unfortunately they would be on the losing end of that as well. So including the playoff game, they would end up losing 5 straight games. Okay, so take a look at their team stats. So you can see the standings right there. Finished second in the division, 2 games behind Baltimore. Offense, they would finish 27th in the league in passing yards. Now, granted, that was between Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. If you had had one person play consistently, the numbers could have been better. Who knows? So they would finish with 3,264 yards. They would be 26th in receiving yards with 3,607. First downs, they were 30th in the league with 74. Rushing yards, at least they were close to the top 10. They were 11th with 2,166 yards. And points, they were right around the middle of the pack, 16th in the league with 380. So now we'll take a look at the players' stats. So like I said, between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they were both the main quarterbacks under center. Russell Wilson would have the better stats, playing more games, finishing the season with 2,482 yards, a 63.69% completion percentage, and a touchdown to interception ratio of 16-5. George Pickens, a wide receiver, would finish with exactly 900 receiving yards on 59 catches, 3 touchdowns. Pat Freiermuth, I believe the tight end, would finish with 653 yards receiving on 65 catches and 7 touchdowns. Najee Harris, the running back, would finish with 1,043 yards on 263 attempts and 6 rushing touchdowns. Jaylen Warren, the other running back, would finish with 511 yards, 120 attempts, and 1 score. So the big thing for the Steelers, and it seems to be a common theme forever, is that they finished yet again above 500. They definitely finished with higher expectations than what a lot of people thought, including myself. I thought this would be the first season that they'd finally finish below 500, but Mike Tomlin seems to have the magic in him that no matter who he has playing with him, that they end up having a successful season again. He's been their head coach since the start of the 2006-2007 campaign, and he's never finished below 500. The closest that they got was 8-7-1 or 8-8-1, so they finished roughly 500. But again, they've never finished below 500 in the 17 years, I believe, that he's been their head coach. And I can't believe that he's been their head coach for that long and that consistent. I'm pretty sure now that Belichick has retired, he's now like the longest serving tenure coach in the entire league, if I'm not mistaken. So heading into the offseason, I'm sure they have a lot of questions as to what they want to do. Do they want to bring back Russ? Is Justin Fields the answer? Clearly, one of those two guys will be going somewhere during this offseason. There's no way the Steelers are going to hold on to both of the quarterbacks, mainly because of guaranteed money will probably play a major factor into that decision. But if I had to make another bold prediction for the Steelers, I mean, I thought they'd finish below 500 this past season. Something tells me they're still going to finish above 500 again next year. Now, do I see them finishing second in the AFC North? To be honest, probably not. I believe Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals should play better next year. And I think it's going to be like a two-headed monster in the AFC North between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, if I'm going to be completely blunt and honest with you. The Steelers might drop down to third in that division. Maybe they finish 9-8 next year. Who knows? But I won't say that they will finish below 500 again. That kind of bit me in the rear when I made my predictions last summer. So obviously, they made the postseason. The big thing is they haven't won a playoff game since the 2016-17 divisional round against the Kansas City Chiefs. They would go on to lose to the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. The following year, 2017-18, they would lose to the Jaguars in the divisional matchup. 2018-19, they didn't make it. 2019-20, I'm having a vague, I can't remember how they did that year. I don't think they won the division because the Ravens did. So maybe they missed the playoffs in 2020. 2020-21, they would win the division, only to lose to the Cleveland Browns in the wild card matchup. 2021-22 would be Big Ben's last game. They would unfortunately lose to the Chiefs in the wild card round. And 2022-23, who did they play? Did they make the playoffs in 2022-23? I don't think so, because the Ravens and the Bengals made it. I think they were out. And 2023-24, last playoff, they would go up against the Bills in the first round, and unfortunately they would lose that game. So it's been 7 or 8 long years for the Steelers since they've had a postseason win. All right, that's going to take care of this recap for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.